is one of the oldest companies in India. I should stop eating it or what?
Now, if I looked at the ingredients, I would say, hell no. Everything to cause inflammation in the body, everything that could be wrong with a product is in here.
No, don't say that.
Only enjoy this when you have no other food and we have a famine, and this is the last piece of food that you can eat. Cereal should not be a meal. Wheat flour, very cheap, very dirty. If you ate this on a regular basis, you should be inflamed, puffy, water retained. If you watch how they make this, it's pretty disgusting. Very inflammatory, causes inflammation, bloating, water retention. If I ate a whole orange, I would be satisfied. If I drank 2 glasses, I could probably drink this whole bottle at one time, and that would be explosive. You're eating at that point for taste, not for quality of life. Question is, for that I get a lot, is protein powder required?
Yes.
It's not required. Every time you contract a muscle, I just use calcium. I just use magnesium. I don't care what diet you do. The real answer is, if we're made up of 102 minerals, how am I going to put those 102 minerals back into my body? So who cares? You can be a carnivore and do it the wrong way. You can be a vegan and do it the wrong way. Everything's so altered. And in this system that we live in, we now have to learn how to optimize our health. So if you don't move, you're gonna have a dead body.
So do you think there is still hope for us to have good food and good life, good skin?
100%. Genetics only load the gun, and your lifestyle will pull the trigger.
Hello, brother.
What is up? How are you doing?
Glad to have you. Finally, we made it.
We are here.
Yeah.
So happy to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I've been contemplating to have you from a very long time because I think there's a lot of conversation that I wanted to have you talk about fitness, nutrition, and I couldn't find anyone else better than you because you are a biohacker. And for a lot of people, I don't even know they would know the definition of biohacker. So let's start with that, how did you get into biohacking? But before that, what is biohacking?
Biohacking is a very, could be a complex term, but in simplicity, basically learning your body at a biocellular level and learning how to adapt to this new environment so you can optimize your health. That's my view on it. You know what I mean? Pretty much with today's way of living, everything's so altered. And in this system that we live in, we now have to learn how to optimize our health, which is very hard to do in a place where we're always being bombarded with technology, chemicals, food, you know what I mean? And it's not what our bodies were intended to have in our bodies. So now, what biohacking is pretty much, if you want to go be technical, you can have all these markers, you can have all these machines hooked up to you, you can test for everything. Phenomenal. That's on the high end level, very expensive. But on the low end, where everybody can actually, adapt to that meaning, is basically learning the basics of biofeedback. So if I put something into my body will respond. If something is happening in my body, like a deficiency, your body, I say, speaks a beautiful language. So biohacking to me is decoding the language that your body's speaking to you.
What got you into biohacking, and what is your story? Like, how did you get into this? Because you have also had a lot of transformation of your own.
Oh yeah.
Right? And you're also coming from, as an immigrant, coming from Poland.
Yes.
Coming here and adapting to a new culture, new environment. Your health also went for a toss.
Yes.
Then how did you manage everything in between?
So I'll recap that, and that's awesome. So I was born in Poland, lived in Germany, typical lean kid, whatever. My dad was a soccer player, so good genes. Came to Canada, and
was he a pro soccer player?
He played semi-pro, Liga 1, Liga 2 back in Poland. Wow. So he was very athletic, but as you move, we came here and the environment changed. You know what I mean? Western culture is different than Europe, even in eastern part of this world. But I think it's now all kind of mishmashing with what's going on in the world. But when we came here, I started eating differently. Meaning I had access to food that I normally wouldn't eat back home. Back home, maybe you would eat an ice cream as a tradition on a Sunday. You go to church, have a little bit of ice cream. I came to Canada, it was buckets of ice cream. There you'd have one Coca-Cola a week. Here it was a case of Coca-Cola. It was bottles of Coca-Cola. And it was just, I fell into the trap of splurging on things that I was, it was a lot less back home and a lot more here. And I was just the basics at this moment. So what happened to me is I came here, gained a lot of weight from 7 to 10. I came here to 7 in 91. So I was 7 years old. From 7 to 10 years old, I started getting overweight. And then the real horrible part of it happened from 10 till 20. I became obese. And obese, what is obesity, right? Like obesity is typical, if you do the BMIs, it could range, you're in a body fat range of like 30% to 28, 25. It could be already obesity for a lot of people, right? But I'm only 5'5". I weigh 220 pounds. That's the worst I got to. Size pants.
220 pounds is how many kgs? It's 110 kgs?
Somewhere
around
there.
that?
Probably looking at 105 kgs.
Wow.
And I'm only 5'5". So in context, someone might think, 220 is not large, but for me, 5'5", that's a big amount.
Based on the height and
And I break it down to pant size. So basically, I wore a size depending on the brand. But at my worst, I got to size pants 42, which is very, very unhealthy.
Yeah.
And why is it unhealthy? Is because that's your visceral fat. That's the fat stuck in all your organs, right? Around your liver, which causes other health problems, which we'll get into. But so basically, I grew the size pants 38 to a 42, depending on the brand. And it's not a good quality of life, right? You're afraid to take off your shirt and go swimming. All that kind of stuff is horrible.
How old were you?
I was at that point when I got to the worst part. It was from the start at 10. 10 years old, I got to the point where like I pretty much spilled over. And what I mean by spilling over is, somebody could be a little bit overweight. You can still catch that. The spillover happens when your organ fat is so full, the visceral fat around your organs, that you start to get your stomach to come out because your body has to push out. Your fat cells keep multiplying, right? Sometimes if people have cellulite, it's a herniated fat cell. But in this case, it was just fat cells were multiplying.
And do you think the major reason was because of the diet?
Of course, and lifestyle, sleep, everything. Everybody always asks me, because I coach a lot of people, and they ask like, I'm just going to give me a workout program. And I'm like, no. Your transformation is going to encompass everything. And kind of what I'm getting known for, that one line, that is like, I'm not here to make you lose weight. I'm here to make you healthy. Okay. You got to let that sink in.
You said the other day something else. You said, I'm not here to make you lose weight, but I'm here to heal your body.
And that's exactly what that means, right? It's I'm not here to make you lose weight. Your weight loss will come off because as soon as you heal the organs, but now how do you optimize the functionality of your organs, right? It will encompass everything. It will encompass your sleep. It will talk about what you're putting into your body, right? It could be the food, the chemicals. It is also your environment, stress levels. How does your body, how are you able to manage with your stress? So we can't get away from stress in a lot of occasions, but how can we manage it better? I work at a job now that, not me, but let's just say this is someone's example. I work in an office all day long. So how am I going to adapt to now move so I can make my body burn those extra calories, right? So basically, like you have to, what I tell my clients is weight loss will come once you fix and correct your lifestyle. And why biohacking today, I guess, it's a widely used term, but basically just correcting your lifestyle. Why it's important today is because we live in such an altered environment, from everything from food to our culture to stress. It used to never be like this. You know what I mean? So when I got obese, I had all these malfunctions, thank God I corrected everything, but it was by the grace of God, I ended up in the hospital. So at the age of 20, I was playing video games with my cousin, and I was sitting there like this, and all of a sudden I lost feeling of my body. And that kind of took on for 5 seconds. But in my mind, it probably even felt longer because all of a sudden it's like, imagine you can't move your hand. You're in like paralysis. And I'm just sitting there and like even breathing. And all of a sudden, I caught a deep breath of air and that was very nice. And I'm like, I go to my cousin. I'm like, I think I just had a heart attack, 19 years old. And he goes, you're stupid, whatever. Like, teenagers, right? So then we kept playing. And that night happened again at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I got rushed to the, I knocked on my uncle's door and I said, can you please take me to the hospital where I was sleeping over that night? And he took me to the Mississauga hospital. They did all the tests on me. And it wasn't a heart attack. It was heart palpitations and it was obesity. So basically my heart was struggling very hard to pump blood and it was irregular heartbeats, which today I know is probably a magnesium deficiency, a potassium and sodium imbalance, electrolyte imbalance. So my heart was having palpitations. And at the same time, the magnesium, which is your relaxer, and calcium is your constrictor. Those are your two other electrolytes. They play a role. And now imagine I was deficient, which I probably was, because even though I was eating home cooked meals at home. When you're a teenager, you have access to your own money and you buy whatever you want.
Yeah.
So I was at home eating my healthy European style food, but then I would be out going to school, going out with friends, and before you know it, I'm pounding back all fast food. 7-Eleven, McDonald's, Wendy's, those were the places. Those were the hot spots.
Hotspots.
And it's like, you're eating at that point for taste, not for quality of life. And, you can't explain that to a 19-year-old or an 18-year-old or 17-year-old. I just know something was off. And then you go to see the experts, you go see the doctors, and they all tell you, go move and eat healthier. But what does that mean? So if a doctor tells me to eat healthier, but I got insulin resistance, a fatty liver, which is visceral fat that's just covered in all your organs, and then your organs are malfunctioning, why I probably shouldn't be eating something that's sugary, even though if it's healthy. So they would say, oh, you can go eat fruit. I'm like, but can I? I'm like, what will that work? How will that even work for my body? So when I ended up in the hospital, I was given two options. I basically flipped on the switch, did it the wrong way the first time. I lost 80 pounds. I did a lot of cardio, but this is what I did. I got rid of all artificial food. Zero.
What were the two options again?
Either I fixed myself pretty much like the very next day, or I would have continued down the wrong path. And not knowing anything, and coming from an athletic background, you always think that like, well, everybody talks about genetics, but there is a famous line. It's not my line, but I like to repeat it. Genetics only load the gun. Your lifestyle, your lifestyle will be the trigger. It will pull the trigger.
Genetics will load the gun.
That's right. And your lifestyle will pull the trigger. Meaning you could have come from a pro athlete, father or mother, but if you choose to live a certain type of way, I promise you're not going to express those genes. You might have a better opportunity than someone else if you come from a background that you were gifted your 23 chromosomes from both parents and you became a machine, a perfect machine, and then you lived in the perfect environment. Yes, you have an advantage. But I promise you, if you get those 23 from each parent's chromosomes and you come out and you live a horrible lifestyle, you put yourself in a worse environment, I promise you, I don't care what kind of genes you get, you're still going to look a certain type of way. You'll still develop disease. You'll still have deficiencies. You'll have early onset of diseases, osteoporosis, sarcopenia, basically loss of bone density, loss of muscle, brain will deteriorate very fast. And that's where my life began, kind of switched around. I lost 80 pounds, got rid of all artificial food, drank only water, no soda pops, nothing that didn't matter. Even if it came dressed up pretty in a container, I still wouldn't touch it. I called it poison. I went 6 months, hardcore, lost 80 pounds, life changed. All of a sudden I got new energy, all my acne went away. I was covered in acne from face, shoulders, everywhere. And it was at that point where you're now, 20 years old, and why am I still getting like acne kind of past puberty, right? So basically whatever I was putting into my body was shooting it back out, and that's where kind of the journey started. So then I was supposed to be a computer engineer. I did 1 year, didn't like it. Did graduate from police foundations, was going to be a cop. But along the way there, I became a trainer. At 29 is when my life kind of changed in a whole nother direction. So now I've been a trainer and a server for about 9 years. And then I went to a conference to Las Vegas. It was for an online marketing thing for supplements. But there I met a doctor, Dr. Michael Colgan, great doctor. I think I was 60, sometime in his 60s. He fell off a horse. He was paralyzed. And he rehabilitated himself, walking on stage in front of me, telling his story through nutrition and lifestyle. So he had a little booth set up at the event, and I went to his booth. Never bought a book in my life before, a hard copy that I had to on my own. And I bought about 9 books that day. And that's where my biohacking journey started, pretty much because he broke it down. It was the first book I ever read by myself that I didn't have to read. It was just I wanted to read it. Was Nutrition for Champions. And that broke down everything from pH levels of the body and the alkalinity, and what does that mean? What's the purpose of healthy fats in our bodies? How did our food look like back in the day, and what did they do to our food today? What is the baseline of what the body requires? And that opened up a whole, to this day, I haven't stopped. It opened up a whole new journey, because then I started one after another looking into each book. So then I bought about 30, 40 books. And then I found a little hack. I found Audible, and I started listening to books. So I'm now probably about 140 books in.
And I think another buzzword or something which is also very trending around right now is about anti-aging or reverse aging.
Yeah, of course.
And I think that has also made people very conscious about, how they look and at what age.
Yes.
So, like Brian Johnson also we were talking about earlier that,
Yeah.
Diet and nutrition is one thing, but also people worrying about how they should look, how to reverse their age, how to increase your longevity. I think that is also something that is very much picking up right now from the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Have you also
Of
noticed
course, that's my line, right? It's anti-aging, right? Like before, when I was in my 20s, it was I want to get bigger.
that? How old are you?
41.
You don't look 41. And I
spoiled.
was telling you the other day also, if you remove your beard, I think you look around 29 years
That's
old.
the only reason I grew the beard. Because people would, it's funny because in life, people perceive you a certain type of way. So, I own a business, a supplement shop. And when I enter a room and I speak to people and they're like, oh, you're the owner? I'm like, yeah, I know I look very young, but yes, you know what I mean? But I'm 41. You know what I mean? I have a lot of life experience. And anti-aging is a beautiful thing because we are what we eat and our environment will dictate
Yeah.
the way you're gonna behave and look and the quality of life, right? So it's like longevity is the purpose of my life, right? So it's like slowing down aging, and there is a perspective like Bryan Johnson can do the plasmas and all that kind of interchanging and stuff, and taking blood out of his body, putting it in, using other hormones and stuff, optimization. Obviously, if he's already downgraded, and then, but what anti-aging to me is it's your chronological clock is going to be there. I can't change 41, but I'm 41 and I can still play I can still play hockey. I can still snowboard. I can go lift. I feel great. My brain is clicking. Meaning like I have no brain fog. I love to study. I can retain information, and I want to stay like that. Because if I didn't correct my life at 21, I don't know what I would be today. I would be probably heavily medicated. So the biggest thing I could tell people is if you live right by the way you eat, the way you behave, how you surround yourself with people, because that's your environment, what you put into your body, it will all kind of slow down aging. And why does that mean? Because you have telomeres, and they stay, they're like your little caps on top of your stem cells. So we're all made up of stem cells, and we have these little caps. They're called telomeres. These telomeres is what keeps you from aging as fast. We're all going to age, but how fast do you want to get there? How fast do you want to lose your hair? How fast do you want your skin to sag? You know what I mean? How fast do you want to have problems with all your aches and pains in your body? That will get, none of us are going to be able to avoid that. It's coming for everybody. You know what I mean? But how fast do you want to get there? And then the best, comparison would be compare yourself to people your own age. Now if I compare myself to people that are 41, what do they look like? You know what I mean? But that problem that they are facing today started 10 years ago, right? Because their telomeres kept falling off, but they took it for granted when they're younger. Everything was good.
What would be the right age for somebody to start thinking about anti-aging or to look younger?
As soon as you get out of your teens. I believe that, our brain stops growing after, I believe, 12 years old, somewhere around there. We fully develop into our bodies and bones set in and everything else up to the age of 30. But already in your 20s, because that's, speaking to people all the time, a lot of people fall apart after they leave home, right? Now the stress kicks in. Now they have bills to pay for. They have to nurture themselves. They don't have the luxury of like, I don't have no stress because my parents are going to take care of everything. So as soon as you leave the nest, right, you're on your own. Yeah. What happens to people? Oh, I always hear it from everybody. Oh, I used to never be like this in high school. I used to look like this. I used to look that, but not anymore. But why is that, right? Your quality of life is different. You're not paying attention to what you eat. Now you have actual real stress. So these little caps that I was talking about, they fall off. And now your stem cells unwind, and that's called aging, right? So another term for it is dying, technically, right? When you stop growing into your body, you start to die. So how fast do you want to get there? So that's what anti-aging means. How fast do you want your wick to burn out?
Yeah. So do you really think that this is possible to anti-age, or is it that slow down aging?
I believe you always have to age. Slow down aging is a better term. Yeah. Anti-aging just means what can you change in your life, or what can you take in your life, I guess, because anti means against, right? Anti. So anything that a person fixes in their life or adds to their life could be anti-aging, but the real term is gracefully aging. You know what I mean? Basically living the best quality of life.
Now, this is the thing. Now, the society has built the notion that, you don't have to look your age, you have to look younger. So this is another thing that, always goes in your mind. And I think this is because of this, uh, Brian Johnson has also come up with, Project Blueprint, where,
Yes.
he spends $2 million a year on his health, where he's adding 100 supplements a day. And, he's doing a lot of tests. He's doing plasma therapy, TRTs. There is another drug that he was having. I think it was something like rapamycin. Rapamycin, I think that has to do something with the longevity. I mean,
NMN, nicotinamide.
so, when I think about it, that, do I have to do all of these things? Do I need to spend $2 million a year in order to look young? And his whole criteria is to not die at all. It's not just longevity. It is like he recently also launched a book which says don't die.
Yes.
So
that's what he said. This is podcast?
that's the name.
Oh, wow.
That's the name of the book. Don't die. So his whole criteria is around not dying, which I think is like a a big dream for somebody to have it. But I think longevity is something that you should practically aim for. But now, for a person like me, or any ordinary person who doesn't have $2 million to spend on their diet every single year, what is the simplest way of anti-aging, or at least increase the longevity of your life?
Yeah, and the longevity of life will be determined the quality of life, right? So, for what he's after, I think he's just bored. You know what I mean? And he's got a lot of money and whatever. But he does come up. He does say a lot of good things. But for the typical person, here are the biggest secrets. Focus on what goes into your body, and that is basically how I coach. Focus what goes into the body, and that will determine your quality of life, organ health, and all that stuff. Move. You have to move. I always tell people the calves or the second heart. So as simple as walking every day. That's why 10,000 steps. 10,000 steps. You hear 10,000 steps, but why?
Yeah.
10,000 steps because you're using your calves. As simple as that. That's how simple this has to be. If you even just and if you think about it in your life, how many people do you know that even if you didn't have a watch to track your steps, that would take about 2 hours of walking a day maybe to hit those 10,000 steps, if not more, depending on your pace. But how many people do you know in your life that are either working on their feet all day long, or they're actually making a conscious thing of, even if they don't work out, to go walk? And why we walk is because your heart has to pump blood. There's only one way the blood goes in one way. It goes in one direction. And you have little valves in your veins. So the blood goes downward and then circulates back up. But for it to circulate back up, so you can deliver oxygen, because oxygen is delivered through your iron in your blood. That's how we deliver nutrition and energy to your cells. It goes one way. And your calves, or your second heart, they pump the blood back up. So if you don't move, you're going to have a dead body. Meaning, how are you going to burn sugar? How are you going to be able to move oxygen? How are you going to move the blood back up to the heart? And these valves only go one direction. They go down. So the blood has to be pushed through. And if you have someone who has thick blood because they're dehydrated, they don't take care of themselves, that's when you start to have problems. This blood doesn't move. It becomes stale. Your liver and your kidneys they're responsible for cleaning your blood. Our bodies are so intricate, but we are so far off, like I said earlier, from everyday life. So eat healthy, go move, so the blood gets distributed and filtered through your whole body, so you can move nutrition and oxygen, so you have energy, and that your body can keep cleaning your blood for you because you're gifted a liver and a spleen and kidneys. And then number 3, sleep. We're not sleeping. So how are you supposed to not age very fast and let your body have an opportunity to regenerate itself if you don't sleep? People are missing the purpose of sleep. And today, sleep is so hard for a lot of people because of the fast-moving electronics, EMFs. EMFs is one piece of the puzzle, but then we're altering the way we live. So when I grew up, 83 kid, right? Growing up, there was one TV in the house. It was in the living room. 7 o'clock came, parents kicked you out to go to your bedroom. You were bored, you had nothing to do. You had to play Legos or something, but that was stimulating, and that was no bright screens. You got to learn, what we thought, biohacking, that term, right? So if these beautiful bright lights right now are keeping me awake because they're white lights, right? Blue lights, and then obviously we have natural blue light that comes in, that keeps the human awake.
Yeah.
You want that. That's part of the circadian rhythm. That's how we stay awake during the day. If we were plunged in darkness, you would want to sleep all day and you'd be tired. because your brain would be like, well, it's dark, so I'm not going to produce this man or woman testosterone and kick them into gear. I'm not going to suppress my melatonin. So melatonin, the chemical, the hormone will be around. So your body is incredible. So when you wake up in the morning, light touches you, and it jolts you a little bit. It dumps a little bit of glucose into your bloodstream, and a little cortisol jolts you. That's how you wake up. And the signal from that to happen is the light that touches your skin. So now your body knows to wake up. All of a sudden, your body starts to suppress your melatonin and starts to secrete testosterone. It's time to have energy. That's why testosterone is the strongest earliest in the morning, right? And then as it tapers off in a day, your body's now, adjusting to the light difference. Now it starts to get dark. Your body starts to slowly produce melatonin and starts to suppress testosterone. Beautiful. So light touches, wake up, testosterone, light goes away, melatonin, testosterone goes down. But now you're like this in your bedroom, you're watching beautiful electronics. These TVs are so bright now. Lights back in the day used to be yellow lights. Now we're getting LED, beautiful, bright white lights, right? So now you're messing up your environment. So the biohacking term is like, how do I hack my environment to optimize my biochemistry?
Why are you wearing this pendant? What is this pendant?
Yeah, this right here is magnificent. It's an EMF. It's an EMF descrambler. So electromagnetic frequencies. So for this phone to connect to the internet right now, there's a signal that it has to hit. So I don't know where the signal is coming from. And what this does is it doesn't break the signal. It absorbs the signal and it kind of descrambles it, almost like an air filter. Takes dirty air, spits out clean air. And the dangerous part about a EMF blocker, which is this is not a blocker, it dissolves it. If this device, if this was an EMF blocker, this device would have to work 10 times harder to connect to the signal. This is not meant to block the signal. This is meant to absorb the signal.
Wow.
And this will still get the signal, but it's not going to now shoot out because the signal doesn't just dissipate. It has to go somewhere. So if I'm touching it with my hands, it will get absorbed into my body. Because our mitochondria, we're energy as well, right? So my body now will absorb it. So if my mitochondria, which is how we produce energy in the body, which is muscle, that's why we want to build muscle. If my mitochondria is constantly being attacked by outsourced energy, then I'll be tired all the time. So all of a sudden, by wearing this, I have more energy. I feel better. Because I'm not being constantly, my body's not constantly being tapped into the energy source that's all around us. Yeah, so this is something that, so like we talked about earlier, so yes, we got all this great tech and stuff like that. With that, we're going to have new companies that are going to arise, right? So something like this has been used in NASA. They have 20 patents on this across the world. The reason I came across this was because of Ben Greenfield, a biohacker. He was talking about it, and I looked into it. Because my problem was when I was holding these phones, I'm very sensitive to EMFs. My hands were getting red, and they felt like they're getting on fire. So I would pretty much, if you saw me, if I was around the house or the store, not to look weird, but when no one was around, I would have like a book underneath it, and I would just be playing with my finger because it felt too hot in my hands.
Interesting.
Ever since I put this on, you would never see me hold my phone this long before I got this. It was just getting too hot and my hands would be very red on the inside. And then after about 3-4 days of having this on my phone, that feeling went away, which is incredible. And that's Life. This is by Aries Tech. It's amazing. We can link it up later on. I have no affiliation with them, but this is incredible what it did for me. And then I invested in one of these. And then when I put this on, I was already in tune with what this did for me for my hands. And then I personally got this after. And then my fiance got one as well. And then to my surprise, within 3-4 days, we're just sitting in the store just talking. And she goes out of nowhere, not prompted. She goes, I'm feeling a lot better. I feel like I have a lot more energy. And then I was like,
wow.
Yeah, that was the aha moment. I'm like, and I went like this. And then we ended up buying like 6 more of these.
How much are these for?
These are about $300 and this is about $120. They do have promotions on all the time. Maybe one day I can affiliate it with them, give a promo code or something. But I highly recommend this for everybody. Yeah. And we bought it for our parents as well. You see, because when you have these phones up to your head, you know what I mean? They heat everything up, you know, and that's what people don't understand how dangerous electronic magnetic frequencies are. And if you read your manual, they say to not to keep this phone in your pocket, just to keep it about, I think, 5 millimeters off your body. See, growing up when we're younger, the phones had antennas.
Yeah.
right? Antenna, you have a phone like this, the signal's above your head,
Yeah.
not going through your head. And over time, if that mass over here keeps getting a signal and it keeps heating up, and you have an acidic body because you don't sleep well, you eat a lot of bad food, you don't take care of yourself, you're not very alkaline, what will happen is now you might have a mutated cell that mutates about 30, 40 times. Now you have a tumor. And that's where people are starting to get tumors. So these things are altering, these technologies and the food are alternating our cells.
Do you think people who are in their 60s, they can reverse their age, or at least think about longevity of their age
Of course,
anymore?
you can change it at any point in time in life. So if you're at 60 and you change your way of life, you will live a better life from 60 to 100 to 80 to 90, whatever it is. If you don't change at 60, you will live a lower quality of life, meaning have more aches and pains, you'll be more tired, you might die sooner, and you might develop a disease, and then you'll be managed by the medical system. Yeah. So at any point in time, you know what I mean? And the only reason this term is being thrown around right now is because we live in a society that's so far off quality of good life. I find everybody's complaining about energy and brain fog and everything else, that now that's the new hot topic. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then maybe in 100 years, this won't even be a topic anymore.
Yeah, I know. See, about anti-aging, like when I think about it, that there are two sides to it. One is that, how you feel from inside.
Yes.
That how younger that you feel. And one is the outside.
Yes.
And this is something that I don't totally agree with Bryan Johnson, because I think he also makes you feel that, he's also very smart looking from the outside, is because he's also going through a lot of treatments. So, which means Botox, fillers, or whatever.
Yes.
That is a concept of, how you want to be looked at. You want to get looked younger.
And I agree with you on that 1,000%. But you are an inside of your body is a pure indication of the outside. But he looks fake. So he looks, nothing against anybody that does Botox or fillers. You're putting stuff in your body. I don't know what it does to you yet. I could tell you what it does, but everybody has to choose their own path. But when you start looking a certain type of way and you start looking plasticky and artificial, to me, that's he's doing it for other purposes. Yeah. He's creating a business out of this.
Yeah. I mean, whatever he wants to do, it's all his choice, whatever. Again, skincare also comes into the play when we are talking about anti-aging. Yeah. Do you really think that fairness creams and these kind of creams or treatments which are like when you apply something on your face could really help you anti-age, or at least control how you look?
It all starts, it can, but again, what is in that cream, what chemical, what do they put into it, and what is it causing you from the outside? But you then are lying to yourself, because if you start to apply things on the outside and it makes you look a little bit younger, and you haven't still corrected much from the inside. So what's the point? You know what I mean? Just because you look a certain type of way, you might develop a disease. And maybe that disease that just happened is from the cream that you kept putting on. Now, back in the day, people used to use olive oil. People used to use coconut oil. Nature's, solutions. So basically, it's like, do I need those chemicals that they're putting in? Yes, all the fun stuff. No, you don't need any of that. I drink water. I drink alcohol maybe 3 times a year, an occasion, a glass of wine, whatever. It happens several times a year only. I sleep well. I eat. I call it the 80-20, meaning like you can't. I went perfect for a few years, and it was very hard.
What is perfect?
Meaning I would touch nothing that was a chemical. I wouldn't even touch stevia. I wouldn't even touch monk fruit. I would only eat what God put on this earth, and that's all I ate. And if it was altered by man, I wouldn't touch it. But then quality of life sucks. Everywhere you go, you can't eat anything because everything's altered. You can't drink anything because the water is bad. So then all of a sudden, it's like you're like living this life where you're constantly like that person that's tracking their calories every day. That's not quality of life. I did that too. This sucks. You know what I mean? Your body will speak to you. If you're bloated, you should be refraining from eating something. You're not digesting something. If you feel tired and you feel haggard, get better sleep. Drink more water, right? Eat more collagen. What is your skin made up of? Amino acids and fats and proteins. And what is it required to rebuild new flesh? You shed every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your skin cells shed. And they're going to rebuild from the food that you put in. You are what you eat. right? So it's like,
About collagen, do you
yeah.
think that we need outside collagen in the powder form or anything of that sort? But because our body also generates collagen.
It produces collagen. Your body produces creatine from the food that you eat. It's basically supplements are there to supplement. People have it. They think it's like a cheat code. I get to live this shitty quality of life, and I'm just going to take all these supplements. But supplements, like, people talk about collagen. Is it highly absorbable? Does it really work? Well, collagen to me is a set of amino acids that's called protein, and they focus more on glycine and proline. And that will help with connective tissue. That will help with your fascia. That will help with your skin, hair, nails. But it's just amino acids. So if someone says to me, because I've heard that term being flown around that collagen doesn't work, well, then I'm like, then protein doesn't work. Then why are you drinking protein? Because it's just amino acids put together, and your body has to break them down through your liver and back into your bloodstream, and then you get to rebuild your flesh. So those amino acids that we consume, do you need collagen to produce collagen? No, you need a lot of vitamin C. Vitamin C is very important for natural collagen production, right? And you need those amino acids somehow from somewhere. That's why we used to do bone broth. That's why we never threw out we gave praise to the animal if you're a carnivore, and you'd eat the organ meats, you eat the bone marrow. That's all collagen. You're taking that flesh to rebuild your flesh, right? Now, if you're stubborn and you're a certain type of diet, it happened to Alana, my fiance, perfect example, vegan, ate very healthy. Congratulations. You look great, but why is your hair falling out? And why do you have a wrist guard on your wrist? So if someone says collagen doesn't work, I'm like, okay, that's cool. But then Alana starts taking collagen for hair loss. And obviously not just collagen, copper, zinc, other minerals, a lot of vitamin C. So now all of a sudden she takes collagen for hair. Hair starts growing back after a month, right? Finally, now it's growing out about probably 8 inches. We were collecting a little sandwich bag of hair a day. It was kind of scary. I've never seen it happen. I know that we lose about 100 pieces of hair a day, roughly. And stress and bad diet and everything also play a role. But she was losing at a pace I've never seen in my life. And it kept getting matted. So I would help her, and then she starts crying, and I'm like, "Don't worry, I'll wear a wig with you, if you have to." She doesn't mind me sharing the story because her hair is now growing back. But in the midst of that, the hair starts growing back, and not just because of collagen, biotin, that's a B vitamin, the copper, the zinc, all that stuff. We had to increase all that because she was eating OMAD, 1 meal a day, vegan, but not enough.
Do you think most of it was because she was on a vegan diet, and she still is on a vegan diet, and the kind of minerals, the kind of the nutrients the body needed, it wasn't enough for her to sustain that kind of a
You got it. It doesn't matter if it's a vegan diet, a carnivore diet, whatever diet. That's why diet just comes from the Latin word dieta. It just means the form of way you eat, right? So who cares how you eat? The real truth is this, which I now can say, I say this to a lot of people. I don't care what diet you do. The real answer is, if we're made up of 102 minerals, how am I going to put those 102 minerals back into my body? So who cares? You can be a carnivore and do it the wrong way. You can be a vegan and do it the wrong way. You can be a pescatarian and still do it the wrong way. You can be a vegan and be very obese and very sick, because you're eating all the wrong foods. You can be a carnivore and never touch the organ meats and where all the minerals are, and maybe eat no berries, or I still eat berries, or something like that, just to have a little bit of fiber in the system to push the sulfuric ash through the intestinal tract. Because every time you eat an animal product, a lot of people, no one talks about this, there's an ash that's left behind. It's called sulfuric ash. That's acidic to the body.
In the body?
Yes, of course. You're an oven inside there. It has to leave your body somehow. But how is that sulfuric ash going to be removed from your body if you have no fiber?
About a meat or anything that you eat?
Any animal product. Any animal product that if we put it over a flame, there would be a char left over, a charcoal, or an ash. That's stuck in your body. How are you going to push that through? You need fiber. You eat animal products, acidic. Caffeine, acidic. You sleep in a crappy environment, you don't sleep well, your body will produce acid. There's a lot of cortisol in the body. Acid, acid, acid. So your body goes, ooh, too much acid in the body. I got to neutralize the acid, and I got to change the pH level of of your blood so that you have optimized blood, right? So basically you have healthy blood at that point. So your body goes, okay, well, this person's not feeding me alkaline food or water or whatever. They're only they're producing a lot of acid, so I'm going to have to neutralize the acid. So the most alkaline unit in the body is calcium. So now you have I was going to say osteoporosis, which is true. So osteoporosis is, your bones become fragile, right? So basically, through osteoporosis, which is the meat of the actual bone on the inside, which is again 12 minerals and 64 trace minerals, your body goes, well, this person's not eating alkaline units. I'm going to have to neutralize the acid. It draws the calcium from your bones. Your body has to receive them. So if you don't give it to your body will draw it from your existing source, which is, now you're not decalcifying your arteries and everything else. You're taking calcium from your existing calcium, and it's how you become fragile. And why is this important? Well, the meat of the bone and your mitochondria, which is your muscle, is important for your metabolism. So how do I, so for someone that's not eating alkaline units, you're pretty much taken away from your frame and you're making yourself weaker. And how does this translate later in life? You don't understand what's going on in your 20s. You don't understand what's going on in your 30s and your 40s. And all of a sudden, 45, maybe at 45, 50, you have a small little fall. Something that shouldn't be like, okay, yeah, you fell, yes, you're older, but now you have massive fractures and your bones are hollow on the inside. Well, that's a problem. Yeah. Well, now you have bones that cannot even heal themselves. Yeah. So what does that mean? That could cause a lot of complications for someone that's very old and or maybe in 70s and 80s and 90s. That could be death for somebody. You know what I mean? It's nothing that people don't realize what you asked me earlier is, when does someone start? You start right away. And hopefully your parents...
I think somebody should start when they have this question for the first time in their life.
Yes.
Our body needs 120 minerals and vitamins. So which means if we are unable to produce them, which means we'll have to go for supplementation.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But the only problem with the supplementation is what I feel is that there are so many supplements all around us that we find it very difficult to choose which one to pick from the other one. Because, sometimes we focus more on the taste rather than the results.
That's right.
So which means we'll probably have a gummy which is like sweet and vitamin, but maybe the tablet form is a better version of that. How do we decide that which supplement is a better in whatever form? So these are few of the minerals, a few of the vitamins that I'm already having.
Okay.
I want to ask you two questions. One is that what are the ingredients in this and who should be having it?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So the first one is vitamin D3.
Yeah, so vitamin D3, this is a very simple one because it's a one ingredient. And it's a gummy, right? It's a gummy. So what we're going to look at is the quantity. There's nothing wrong with this one. This one's actually good. D3 is fine. It's good. It's a gummy. It's NPN certified, meaning it's been fully verified by Health Canada. But then let's look at it, right? So it says 1,000 IUs. Actually, let's check the ingredients first. So as a gummy form, I would probably prefer taking this in an actual capsule form myself, only because you got to respect your microbes, right? Sometimes they don't want to eat the stuff that we're feeding them. So this right here, to make it taste good, they have glucose syrup, they have sucrose, purified water is good, citric acid, sodium citrate, natural flavors, raspberry, blood orange, strawberry, awesome, that's good. They used real good quality, like no fake colors, awesome. Coconut oil checks out. Vegetable and fruit juice colors, and they use carrot, paprika, blueberry, blackcurrant, and then carnauba wax. So basically, you're putting sugar in with the vitamin D. You might not want the sugar. I wouldn't, personally myself. Other than that, it checks out that they use real colors. They don't use fake colors. The dosage is 1,000 IUs, standard, for like a typical a vitamin D3 supplement. So basically this could be used by anybody, and it would be very effective. This is a very hot topic right now. Magnesium is very important. Now, magnesium, what do people use it for?
What is the difference between two, though?
Yeah, so these are actually both highly absorbable. This is the one that you brought, and this is the one I brought. Okay. I like that it says glycinate. Biglycinate is really highly absorbable. So let's just bring it down to base level. There's one type of magnesium. Okay. Magnesium only has one word, and it's one form of magnesium, but the way it's bound to a molecule is how good you will absorb it into the body. So let's talk about the crappy ones that you don't want. Oxide. Oxide is not very highly absorbable. I would probably not use an oxide version of magnesium. It does not work. Citrate, very highly absorbable, but it's got a sole purpose. It's for a lot of people that are constipated. It goes very quickly, absorbs into the intestinal tract. It hydrates the intestinal tract, lets you go to the bathroom very easily. Magnesium citrate. The highest absorbable ones that people use for relaxation. And you got to realize how your body works, you see. Every time you contract a muscle, I just used calcium. I just used magnesium. And for that signal to happen,
What do you mean by this?
so when I flex,
Yeah.
for your muscle to contract, I just used one of my minerals in my body, an electrolyte called calcium,
Okay.
because it is a constrictor. When your heart pumps, it constricts with calcium.
Okay.
And when your heart releases, it's magnesium. So
That is interesting. I've
Yeah.
heard it for the first time.
yeah, so that's why you got to realize you use your electrolytes every single day, and the biofeedback in this case would be cramping for a lot of basic. Can't go to the bathroom. You're constipated.
Got it.
Right? So if you're constipated, your intestinal tract is too tight and it needs to be hydrated, so it's loose. Now the stool can pass through. But the stool needs fiber
Yeah.
and it needs hydration, so you need to be hydrated, and it needs you need to have magnesium in your body, so your everything releases. It's a relaxer.
Okay, relaxant kind of a thing.
So why do people use magnesium before going to sleep? Because it doesn't put you to sleep, but it relaxes you. So once you fall asleep, you have a restful sleep. Now, if you're cramping in sports, it's because you have a magnesium deficiency. Your muscle contracted, but it's not releasing. It's cramping. I need magnesium. Release.
Okay, nice.
So if you're an athlete that uses your body every day versus somebody that sits in a chair every day, your recommended dose, which I don't follow RDAs, I follow biofeedback, your RDA might be 1,000 milligrams of magnesium a day, but the person that sits on a couch all day long in front of a computer, they might only need 200 milligrams because their heart is not pumping very fast, because they're not exercising. They're not flexing their muscles, lifting heavy things, deadlifting and everything, so their body won't use those electrolytes as fast. Now, if you are putting your body through active activities and lifting and brain function and making your heart beat this fast because you're exercising, you're shedding your magnesium so fast that your body will tell you, oh, your stool is not going through, you have cramping, you can't be relaxed, you know. That's a magnesium deficiency.
Now let's talk about this one. What is this?
Fish oils.
Fish oil.
And that one there.
Omega-3.
And the reason why I brought two is just to educate real people real quick on how to read the back of the labels. So both are wild caught. One's only $25, one's about $60. But why is that even happening? Basically, what is EPA, DHA? Those are your healthy fats, in layman terms, that you need, that are found in algae, seaweed. Hopefully the fish was wild caught. Yeah, fish was
Omega-3.
only if it's wild caught though. If it was wild caught, it was eating the seaweed and everything else. And now it has a high omega-3.
Yeah.
If it was farmed, it was getting shitty diet, or very crappy diet, and has a very high omega-6 content. So the EPA, DHA will be very low quality.
So basically what we are getting at normal food stores,
Yes.
is it healthy?
You should be
Like if you're talking about the fish.
Yeah, you should be asking if it's wild caught. If it's not, then yes, they got fed the wrong diet. And then we could talk about other things like parasites and whatever, because they're swimming in their own filth. That's a whole other conversation. What they're infected with, because they're not wild caught. Imagine if you have pools of fish farmed and they're swimming in their own poop, and that water's not being filtered, and all the diseases they're creating, and the worms that are being spread apart, the larvas, they're all ingesting that, and then there's a whole other problem. That's a whole other thing that we can talk about, and that's all, how to get rid of parasites and other things out of your body. But talking about EPA, DHA, so this is about $25 Canadian, because we're in Canada, and this is about $55. What's the difference? You look at the back. What does it say? 4 grams of fish oils on both of them. At the top, milligrams. What's the top first line?
1,000?
And that one says 1,000?
Yeah, 1,000.
1,000, okay.
Yeah.
So now, look at the EPA, DHA content.
Yeah, it's 180 grams.
So
milligrams. This is 120.
So that is, when you add those two up, that's only 300.
300, yeah.
And that is?
460. And another one is 200.
Yes. So that's about 660.
660.
So that's 66% fish oil. That's only 30% fish oil. Then that's bound to something else. That is bound to something else. And I have another one at the store I should have brought with me that's 90%. Meaning for each capsule, there's only 10% filler in each fish oil. That's the difference when you go to a grocery store. Because people come in, oh, I could buy this at a grocery store for like $10. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, then eat 10 of these. I'll only take 4 of these.
Okay.
Right?
And why is it important?
Because that's the high point. So they also have to put something in there to bind the oil to. So if they're
My body can absorb?
yes, but they're now I'm only taking 33% of fish oil and 30% of fish oil into each capsule, and here I'm taking 66%. So that means I have to almost 2 times and a half this. What I take, I'm 2.5 and a little bit, and then only 1 here, meaning whatever is in that capsule that they had to put in there, grapeseed oil, sunflower oil, whatever they put in, whatever they bind it to, maybe I don't want that oil into my body in those amounts every day because I'm taking this on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Because that would accumulate.
This is again to be taken daily basis.
I do. Because that is food for your brain, that is food for your eyes, for your retina, and that is food for your heart. Your organs need this.
Okay. Okay, now let's move to protein powder.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think this is something that, there is a lot of, misconceptions about protein also. And I told you about this. There was a video that I was watching, and somebody was saying that a protein powder, once ingested, stays in your body for 3 years. Do you believe that?
I don't believe that, but there's no real way of telling how long something can stay in your body. But the general conception that I found out from my research is something that you ingest, doesn't matter what it is, protein powder or not, at minimum, it will be in your body for 2 months. And I believe what I read, for your body to turn over protein cells can take up to 6 months. Regardless, what you eat doesn't leave your body the next day. It stays in you for quite some time. Now, do I know if it stays in you for 3 years? I don't know. You know what I mean? That would be that's something that they would have to take a piece of your flesh and be able to do biopsies on your flesh, which I don't really need anybody to tell me that either. Like I know it stays in my body. Just like we eat food. The food that you ate today doesn't just leave your body.
Like something similar to what you said about, like, if you're having meat and
Yes.
the residue stays in your body for...
Until you can push it out or it's absorbed into you, right?
Well, you're having more fiber to get it out.
You need to be able to get it out. You got to be able to push that back out, and that's through fiber, because the fiber only feeds our microbes.
And
but it's like little brushes for intestinal tract. It pushes all the debris back down to the colon, and your stool is formed, and that's your toxic waste.
And the same could happen with protein as well. Could it be pushed as well, or it doesn't?
Well, protein in this case, right? This is so fine and so broken that it will be absorbed into the body. Some are in your muscle tissue or in your organs, and some are there, right? So this is your energy source. Now, will this as a protein powder? I've never researched it, but I don't think this will leave a sulfuric ash behind, because there is no flesh to be burned.
Okay, got it.
You know what I mean? So like a fish would have to leave a residue behind. You know what I mean? A protein powder, I think, I have never burned protein powder, but I don't know what the residue would be.
But it's a good experiment to do.
It would be a really good experiment, but I don't know what would be left over if you burn protein, but most likely probably nothing.
Yeah.
Right? But you gotta remember, if it's an actual flesh, if it's actual flesh that's left behind, it has to go somewhere. Right? So protein powder will be absorbed into the body. Now, question is, for that I get a lot, is protein powder required?
Yes, that's the biggest question everybody asks about.
And it's not required. Eating just a high protein diet should be enough. So for me, it's easy to get 1 or 2 scoops of protein into my system and optimize my protein synthesis. Rather than getting a low quality protein just because I said it's whole foods.
Yeah.
So if I was given the choice, personally myself, if someone's going to give me this, now not all protein powder is the same, but in this case, they did such a good job. 4 ingredients: grass-fed, GMO-free, antibiotic-free, hormone-free, pesticide-free, no artificial colors, and organic sweetener, gluten-free. I will take this over a fish that's farmed, 1,000%. I will take this over a piece of red meat that's been, fed the wrong diet and it's on hormones all day, right? So back in the day, it was sufficient just to eat real food. It was easy to find and it was affordable. Who would be protein good for? For people that are struggling getting their protein counts up, for anybody that wants to optimize their protein synthesis post-workouts. Now, your body will repair regardless if you eat enough protein throughout the day. You gotta give your body the amino acid leucine and the essential amino acids to recover and repair. And then something like this would be highly absorbable. When your body does repair post-workout, it's the strongest. It's called the anabolic window.
The biggest question about protein that most of the people also have is that if they're not working out, they should not be having a protein powder. Do you agree with that?
Yes and no. If someone, like my fiance Alana, was only eating 50 grams of protein, even if she wasn't working out, that's still not enough. I would still, for a female, I'll say 0.5 to 0.8 at a high end, a 0.8. That's like...
What is that?
Grams per body pound of protein. So like for someone, that's just easy math.
Yeah.
Let's say someone weighs 100 pounds. You should still consume about
Around 50 kgs, let's say.
Yeah, 50 kgs, true, because that's the form. Yeah. So let's say 50 kgs, close to 100 pounds, would be like 100 and change. That person should consume up to 80 grams of protein.
Okay.
On the high end. That's
Pretty
for a
much
female.
the double.
Well, yes. Yes.
80%.
Yes. So if you're looking at kgs and if you're looking at pounds, 80% of that, right? So if someone weighs 150, maybe 110, 120 would be sufficient. But this is somebody that's very active. For what you just said, that someone is sitting on a couch, doesn't work out, 0.3 to 0.5 could be sufficient. Now, we have to look at their age.
So let's say, let's put it into an example. Let's say if I'm 71 kgs.
Yes.
And let's give two examples. One, I don't work out too much.
Okay.
And give me the protein intake for that person. And if a person like me who's hyperactive, I go to the gym pretty much every single day, how much protein intake do I need to have then?
Cool. Very good question. So someone that's very older, I always say when you're younger, you need less protein, just enough to grow.
You just told me that I'm older.
No, you're not. No, you're not older. But I'm talking about the 71-year-old.
No, 71 kgs.
Oh, 71 kgs. Okay.
Okay. We're not talking about age.
Okay,
We're talking about if I'm 71 kgs.
I got you. Okay. So 71 kg person that's older. Let's just say let's just talk about age. So let's say someone that's like 70 years old.
30s. Let's say 30s.
30s. So 30s, and you're very active in this case.
So both. One person is very active, another person doesn't go to the gym.
And are we talking about female or male?
Male.
Male. So for a male, 0.8 to maybe 1 gram per body pound. And then in your case, if you're doing kilograms, do that, divide that by 2, right? So that's if you're very active. So let's say you weigh 150 pounds.
Yeah.
I would say 150 grams maximum of protein. And
150 grams of protein as well?
Yes, 150 grams of protein at the high end.
At the high
On
end.
the low end, I would say probably about 120. 100 to 120.
120 for a person who's going to the gym or working out?
Yes, on a low end would be 120, on a high end would be 150.
For an active person?
For a very active person, yes.
Okay. So I should be having somewhere around 150 grams a day?
Yes.
Okay.
Roughly.
Now a person who is not going to the gym at all but has the similar weight as mine?
Somewhere 80 to 100 would be fine.
80 to 100.
So like going back to the protein, you know what I mean? Basically it's like this. You work out a lot and you're going to need more protein to sustain yourself because you're breaking down tissue. You work out less, you're moving less, you're not going to need as much. But the question is, like you asked, how much is how much and how much is too little? So if you're only consuming 50 grams of protein, it'll be too little. But you don't need to consume 250 grams of protein, that'll be too much. That'll wreak havoc on your organs. It will age you very quickly. To burn protein, it requires a lot of energy. So from the sports world, they're going to say, ooh, increase your protein, increases your thermogenesis, which it does. It just makes your body work faster and burn more calories, but not your own. It's the calories that you consume. Now, that will also wreak havoc on your organ health, right? Because it's very hard on the system to break this food down. Now, you also can't consume too little because then your muscle tissue will break down itself and it will compensate for how much you use your body. It will break down its own muscle tissue to provide you with some energy.
Okay.
And then basically the medical term, you want to spike mTOR pathways after a workout, signal your body it's time to grow, not time to take away from what you have. So protein would be good for anybody that's working out a lot, is having a hard time hitting their protein counts, or to augment their diet to basically have some real food in their diet, having protein, but protein shakes can be very very creative. Make smoothies, throw in vegetables.
Usually this is something that I have in pretty much almost every morning.
Yeah.
I'll have banana, protein, oats, dark chocolate, one small piece, and peanut butter, which is like most organic form, and a little bit of water and ice.
Perfect. And what I would do is, if I kept it very similar but different, maybe I'll keep the banana as one sugar source because it's about 20 grams of sugar roughly, some potassium. I would also switch that out into an avocado. I would probably skip out on the oats because you don't need that extra carb. And it's very hard to digest oats unless, I don't know. I personally wouldn't put them in unless sort of steel cut oats.
What should I mix it with? Like if I don't have...
I would put like a banana, an avocado. I would put some dark leafy greens in there. Keep the chocolate if you like. It's dark chocolate, whatever. It's good for you. Magnesium.
85%.
Yeah, it's good. You know what I mean? And it's depending on where it comes from. And I'll switch out to peanut butter to almond butter, personally myself.
Almond butter? Okay. Why?
Almond butter is a little bit better for your body. They say peanuts and other things in life, like coffee, they're not stored the right way and they're very moldy. And they cause a lot of havoc on the system. So
Okay.
peanut butter can be inflammatory, where almond butter might be a little bit better on your system, a little bit more gentle.
Okay.
And it will come down one certain way, but then it's not up to you. It's your microbes that live in your intestinal tract. They have to now consume that food. They're going to be the ones that are going to say yes or no. So some people will get inflamed. Some people will not. They're lucky. But a lot of people might have a lot of reactions to peanut butter. So I would optimize that and put almond butter instead.
Okay.
Costs a little bit more, but way better for you.
Now we have 2 cereal boxes over here. One says a protein cereal and another says cornflakes.
Yeah, and cornflakes is not the worst one to pick to go after. But again,
But I think this is something that not many people even have it anymore.
oh yeah,
This is people usually have the ones which are loops, Fruit Loops.
yes. And if I was going to pick a Fruit Loops, then I could say 100 things that are wrong with it. And with this one, what I see that's wrong with it, it does have preservatives, and it does have a lot of corn, obviously because corn flakes. And if it's corn that's been genetically modified, that's going to wreak havoc on the intestinal tract and the microbes. They don't like artificial food. They want the original corn. Your body wants the original grain, which is like millet and buckwheat and amaranth. It doesn't want the genetically modified. That's why the saying goes, you can go to another country. Let's just say for us people here, we go to Italy, you can eat pizza and not get bloated. You can go to India, certain parts now, but I know there's a lot of disease, type 2 diabetes and everything because they're bringing in canola oil and all that crap.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Right? That's not the way to do it, right? That's inflammatory. That's omega-6s, like we talked about. So it's like you can go to places in the world and eat the same food that you ate back home, but not get bloated, not have water retention, don't have fog in the brain, don't have like all that kind of stuff. Why? Because it's the quality that they used, right? So something like this, I agree with these guys. This is really well done. Gluten-free, no artificial ingredients, high protein. So protein's right. 18 grams of protein per serving. These colors that you see that are on here, those are not fake colors. You want to avoid the RD lakes, red and yellows and blues and greens, all those chemicals that they created colors, those food colorings, they're bad for you. So our Fruity Hoops will not give you, unless I'm wrong, and maybe they've changed it, but this here, they use spirulina for the green. They use red beets for the red color. They use Himalayan pink salt. They use turmeric for the yellow color.
I'm going to take this home today.
Yeah, this is for you. That is for you to try. Enjoy it. 18 grams of protein per serving. Now that it would be acceptable for somebody young eating that.
So can I replace the oat part in the smoothie with these?
You could, if you want a little extra substance, right? Or you can leave that for another meal in a day.
Okay.
Right? Because I'd rather you focus on that blend that you're making. Throw a handful of spinach, arugula, parsley. Throw in some frozen cauliflower if you want.
Okay.
Put olive oil in there. Throw avocado in there. And then to sweeten it up, I personally wouldn't use a banana. I would probably most likely use berries. Berries are low glycemic. They come with
strawberries also?
any kind of berry is low glycemic and it comes with fiber. So to put things in perspective, you could roughly eat about 3 to 4 cups of raspberries to 1 banana in sugar.
Okay.
So now imagine the volume you get to eat in sugar versus what you get from 1 banana.
Yeah.
Now, is a banana going to kill you? No. But if you have insulin problems and you can't digest glucose that well, that would be a problem.
Yeah.
Right?
So when we talk about cornflakes, are they even the breakfast cereals or is it just like you're having a dessert?
The whole concept where like they came up with that you should eat cereal for breakfast is one of the worst things I've ever heard of. Because when I eat this, you have to learn about the stomach cavity and how long food digests. So I'm eating for the purpose that I won't get hungry again. So if I eat cereal, this is not going to take long to digest in my stomach and it won't take a lot of room in my stomach. And what is the quality that I'm getting with this? What is this, right? They say 6 vitamins and minerals. Yeah, but you guys added those. Those are not from nature. It's not real minerals. These are synthetic minerals that they're adding. Nothing good in here.
What should I look into when I'm talking about, let's say, if I'm going for breakfast cereals like these? What specifically couple of 3, 4, 5 things that I should be looking into that makes it a good cereal?
I would,
if somebody doesn't want to go for a high protein cereal.
Yeah, and the reason this is only, again, this is just something, cereal should not be a meal. So cereal is not even a meal. So I can't even tell you the right answer to that because cereal is not a meal in my brain. This is like, you know how I eat this?
It's a snack?
I eat it as part of one of my meals if I want to have a little crunch and a little satisfaction. Because why am I eating this as a meal when this has nothing but only 18 grams of protein and has no minerals and no vitamins? No minerals and no vitamins. So what? I'm just filling in my gut? But So what? So I'm looking at macros. What about macronutrients, the calorie count, but where is the micronutrient coming from?
Right.
So what your question should be in life is, when I ingest this liquid food, what purpose will it serve in my body? Does it have anything to replenish my 102 minerals?
Now, these are like snacks that pretty much everybody in the world has.
Yeah.
What do you think about these?
So right off the top, so 3 ingredients, awesome. Bad ingredient, vegetable oil. That's your omega-3s. Now, some people that are obese and fat or have insulin resistance and have a fatty liver and a fat gut, they shouldn't be eat these because they come with no fiber. So this is going to infect their blood sugar level. So for someone that's super skinny and has never been obese and fat, this won't hurt them. Their body will use this energy for energy, right? To put things in context, carbs are not bad for you. It's, can I use this carbohydrate and will my body absorb this carbohydrate? That's one. Are my organs working properly? And then 2 is, am I physically going to use this glucose energy so I can burn it? Because if I don't burn it, unfortunately, my body will have to store it as energy, which is fat.
Yeah.
Right after your glycogen stores, which is where, inside your muscles, that's where you store your glucose. So in your muscles, you store this energy. But when that storage is full and you can't deplete it, your body says, well, I'm going to go into storage number 2, fat. Now you get fat. Right? And the problem is, again, for obese people or anybody that's overweight, their organ, pancreas, it releases insulin. Insulin is responsible for removing the energy from the bloodstream to turn it into energy. But what if you use that organ so much to the point that you burnt it out, and that's called insulin resistance. Now when you eat this energy, your body says, well, I can't use this energy anyways. Fat. Fat. Okay. And that's where we have to learn, every approach is not the same for everybody. Now, why would I say no to this? Just because of the vegetable oil.
That's it.
That's it. Other than that, if this was a potato chip made in avocado oil, yeah. Except now if you're okay to eat it because it's gluten free, no artificial flavors, no artificial colors, awesome. Which a potato chip shouldn't have anyways. They did a good job on that. But again, they use vegetable oil, and vegetable oils, again, what we talked about, I'm going to be very repetitive because that's how I coach a lot of people too. It causes inflammation in the body. Now, will one bag hurt you? No. But if you like to eat this every day, yes.
But the thing about the chips is that they are addictive.
Yes, they are. They're addictive because they're salty, which is nice. You need sodium. Without sodium, you cannot survive. And it's texture. It's a crunch. I'm addicted to crunch. I like crunchy. If I could eat something that had no calories and it was crunchy, I promise you that company would be the richest company in the world. Because some people just want the texture and the satisfaction of eating something rather than, because in a potato, there's no real good energy in that, right? It's just more of a dopamine hit.
Yeah. These are the 2 biscuits that I really enjoy. So this one has a lot of glucose, and these are pretty much if you're on a diet. I mean, this is how I distinguish the both. What do you think about these?
So again, 0 fiber, 7 grams of sugar, 22 grams of carbs for 6 biscuits. Now, how many biscuits in a package?
I think it must be 10.
So maybe around 10, right? I love, they're cute, eh? They'll tell you, for 20
By the way,
grams.
this is one of the oldest companies in India, and the packaging has been pretty much the same. The price has been pretty much the same. And very recently, I think they increased the price.
So check this out. This is cool. So this has 2 servings in here, so 260 calories. It has 12 biscuits because the 28 grams and there's 56 grams in the front, so that's half the package. So for half this package, you're getting for the whole package, you're getting 260 calories, 8 grams of fat. Fat is good for you, depending on type of fat, but saturated fat, whatever, it's small, 1.5. And carbohydrates, 22, fiber is 0.5. So this will impact your blood sugar level right away. It will spike insulin through the roof. So if you eat this whole packet, you'll get quick energy boost, and then you might have a drop, fatigue, possibly, if you cannot use it. But that's just that. So now if you're skinny, you're healthy, you're walking every day, you're doing manual labor, you work out, this won't hurt you. Macro-wise. Now let's look at the ingredients. Now, if I looked at the ingredients, I would say, hell no. Everything to cause inflammation in the body and everything that could be wrong with a product is in here.
No, don't say that. This is one of my best.
Yeah, it tastes good.
To.
And the reason why is it's enriched wheat flour. Enriched means the original flour has been fully destroyed, and they had to enrich it with minerals, or else it would draw your minerals. See, a lot of people don't realize when you do caffeine, it draws minerals out of it. It's a diuretic. When you eat a lot of carbohydrates, it makes you go to the bathroom, because if your insulin can't keep up, you might pee a lot. That's how your body dilutes the sugar from your bloodstream. It makes you go pee, so you're losing your electrolytes. It's a diuretic. So they, I read in the book, they had to put things, they had to start putting enriched minerals. They had to call them enriched. They started putting minerals back into bread back in the day when they switched out the flour. When they, quick story. My buddy from India, from Mumbai, Jack, he told me a story. His father, to make bread back home, he goes and buys what now is called ancient grains, the original grain, picks it up from a local store, goes to the other local guy that grinds it in a mill, and then comes home and bakes his bread. That bread is good for you. That's not enriched. It has the original minerals in the from the grain. Grinds it, nothing got lost. Comes home, took that product to here, nothing got lost, nothing got stripped. It's full intact. Came home, made a bread. That bread is good for you.
Yeah.
That flour would be good for you, but that's an expensive process. So they chemically remove everything, make it white, make it look pretty. Then they have to put synthetically minerals back in, because you'd be stripping the minerals. So if the bread wasn't enriched, and if people, that was their main staple of their diet, you're demineralizing the human being. It can cause problems, actually cause diseases back in the day. And that's why the government forced, that's why the enriching term came out of that. They had to start enriching, meaning putting synthetic minerals back in. So enriched wheat flour, sugar, invert sugar syrup, I don't even know what that means, but invert sugar syrup, palm oil, inflammatory, can be, very, salt, and then they got the all the binders. So everything to make it not from going moldy, all the preservatives, skim milk powder, questionable, artificial vanilla flavor, bad, enzyme, and emulsifiers. So the enzyme can be fine, but the emulsifier will cause problems. But the problem won't start in your mouth, and it won't start in your stomach acid. It will start to happen in your intestinal tract when your microbes not have to eat this. So that's what happens. So now imagine you have this living organism that you were gifted from your mother when you came out of the canal. You got your first set of microbes from your mom. And then if a child is C-sectioned, they have to swab the female down there in the vaginal area, and they have to swab you with the microbes, because we keep passing on the next generation of microbes to the next army, I guess. Okay. And everything on this planet is covered in microbes, but when you make artificial food, it's not covered in nothing, right? And so these microbes need to eat. And so what you feed them is how good quality your skin is going to look like, anti-aging, what you talked about earlier, or reverse aging, is if they don't get fed and they don't absorb these minerals into you, that's your last part of digestion, actually. Actually, your colon is the last piece. Whatever's left over, if this made it all the way to your colon, because your microbe said, I don't even want to eat this shit, it's going to end up in your colon. And your colon is where the stool is formed. And it's about 6 feet long, roughly. And it has to suck out everything that reaches there. And that's how your stool is formed. And it will suck it back into you. So if there's a chemical, a binding agent, a synthetic mineral, an emulsifier, a chemical, it'll come right back into you. And now you stored it in your body, and now you're like, oh, I have brain fog again. I feel low,
okay, so
low
the
energy.
symptoms are going to be pretty much the same.
Yes, and those are the symptoms that the human will feel. It might not happen even the day of. It might even happen several days after. You see, when you eat, this doesn't just go right away into your body. It's a whole digestive process.
Okay, so in simple words, I should stop eating it or what?
Only enjoy this when you have no other food and we have a famine, and this is the last and this is the last piece of food that you can eat. This would be correct. Or for whatever reason, once a month you want to splurge. Now again, what's in here that will make me excited? Nothing. It will only satisfy my crunch, the texture maybe. Yeah. And that's it. Now, if you
it gives you a little bit of a spike of energy for a moment
because of the sugar.
Because of the sugar.
So go eat a cup of raspberries.
Okay.
Or a cup of strawberries. And now you got fiber, antioxidants, and living organisms that are on top of the strawberries.
Got it.
That now are going to travel into your intestinal tract, and then have a little party down there with your guys. And then your body's going to get to absorb these into your body, because it's pretty cool how your body absorbs minerals and vitamins. Your intestinal tract, those microbes have to eat this, and they have to further break it down. Another day we'll talk about digestion. But then it gets absorbed into your bloodstream after they get to eat it. If they got to eat it. And that's a whole other story. Over here, again, very, very similar to that. Wheat flour, very cheap.
Very cheap, as in?
Yeah, very cheap. Very dirty. Sugar, invert sugar syrup. So this must be a new name. I'm starting to see this because you see, I don't eat these kind of products anymore. I don't know what invert sugar even means. Syrup, but it's a sort of syrup. So artificial sugar. Now, if this was like honey in here, good honey, sure. If this was maybe date. Now, again, if your body can handle the sugar, date sugar or maple sugar, cool. But what are these syrups? The artificial
They're more
syrups.
original.
Sweet condensed milk, horrible. This is probably very tasty, very sweet. Baking shortening, bakery shortening. So palm oil. Some of these words I can't even pronounce. That's a bad sign. Sesame seed oil, inflammatory. Palm oil, inflammatory. It's a mix that they're doing here. Skim milk powder. A lot of preservatives. Those are your bicarbonates. Salt, emulsifiers. Again, to make things creamy. Your microbes are going to be like, what is this? That's called inflammation. And there's a sodium, sterile, that's tartaric acids. So a lot of these are all chemicals.
Yeah.
These are all chemical names, not real food. Because that's if it was real food, you'd be able to pronounce it. These are all chemicals. So all these chemicals have to hit your intestinal tract, and your microbes, again, they're ancient. They're gonna be like, we don't understand this. Now you have problems.
I don't understand listening to it, so imagine my microbes.
Oh yeah, they're gonna tell you, and they're gonna tell you in a certain way that you might not even figure out what's going on. And then artificial flavors, milk, butter, and vanilla dough conditioner.
Wow, what is that?
That's a new one. I've never even heard of a dough conditioner. That's awesome. Sodium meta bisulfite. That could just be a preservative. Enzyme blend, bacterial protease. I guess that's fine. And that digestive enzyme had to be added because your microbes will not be able to digest this because it's so synthetic. Caramel colors, not even real color. Sulfites, more emulsifiers and preservatives. And then contains for allergens. It says wheat, gluten, milk products. So if you eat, and sulfates, if you ate this on a regular basis, you should be inflamed, puffy, water retained, and you should have a weak microbiome, which you start to see deficiencies, not today, not tomorrow, but after a couple of years, all of a sudden your skin quality is shitty, your hair starts falling out. All these things will start to occur, and then you think it's part of aging, which is not totally true. You know what I mean? Now, again, this is the platform that you would have to set up your body to be living in, and that is very, very acidic. Nothing alkaline in that food, right? So it's just drawing your good nutrients out of your body, and your body says, I have to replenish. And if you can't replenish, you become more fragile. So your quality of life should go downhill. Let's see this next one.
So this is something that is pretty much
this.
found in every household in India.
Yeah, let me see.
I couldn't find the one which had another flour. So this is wheat flour.
Okay.
Well, but yeah.
Yeah. So so this is
grown up eating this.
I think everybody ate this. So in Canada, there's another version of this. It's not called Maggi, but it's the wheat noodles, and people used to bring this to school and eat it dry.
There is a emotional connection with this.
Oh yeah, for everybody.
For everyone.
Mr. Noodles, that's I think what it was called. And it's funny, no one would eat this even wet at school. They'll bring this as a snack dry, and my parents would never have this in the household. There's actually some videos online if you watch it how they make this. It's pretty disgusting, but and it's by Nestle. Mainstream, but again, let's read some of the ingredients here. Okay, so let's start. Wheat flour, cool. Again, you're gonna hear. So these are all cheap ingredients. That's why they have them in here. So wheat flour, palm oil, some thickeners that have special number codes, which they won't even tell you the name. 508 and 4112. You should already be worried about that. That's like the red lake 40 and blue color, whatever, 70, yellow this, yellow that. Which sooner, I heard that they're about to relabel those because people are catching on. And they're going to be called new names very soon. So now it's going to be a whole new decoding that people are going to have to, they're not going to be called, because those are already getting bad names, like the way I'm talking about right now.
Yeah.
Soon it won't be called red 40 anymore. It'll be called a different name. And this is where they're coming up with new names. So these are thickeners, they're calling thickeners. Yeah, these. I don't even understand any of these. These are all chemicals and numbers, and they're all registered, and they're all patents or something. Roasted spice mix powder. So there's a whole line that I don't even know how to even. I should have looked into these. This is crazy. but they're all thickeners and the preservatives. This will literally cause so much havoc on your. That's just the first line, and then
That's the first line.
That's just the first line. That's the noodle that the noodle's made from. I don't even know I don't even know how they made this noodle. I don't even understand any of these ingredients. The only ingredient I understand in how they made the wheat noodle is the wheat flour. That's it. That's it. And everything else is all.
And I think just because of that, they have also marketed it the way that it is. If you just flip it, Nutrilicious means full of nutrition. And
Yeah.
it is tasty.
I like that you said that because that video that you showed me of that guy from India that he goes across packages.
Oh, food farmer?
Yeah, food farmer.
He's brilliant.
He has I watched some of his videos and he has one of those where it's like they'll trick you with the name of the company. They'll trick you with the name of the company to make it seem that it's like Maggi, but it says nutrition, and they have a registered
And
trademark.
it has a registered trademark.
Yes.
So it is a name.
Yes.
It's a trademark name. It's
Yes.
not even there saying that it
Nutrilicious.
has nutrients.
Nutrilicious. So somebody's going to look at this and they're going to say, oh, it's nutritious and delicious. That's my line. When I see something healthy, when I do videos, I say that's nutritious and delicious. And they combine those two words together and trademarked it. And this is far from nutritious, but they're not lying to you because they're not talking about nothing about nutrition. It's just they're tricking.
Yeah, it's marketing.
Just like packaging. Yeah. But okay, so I don't know what the noodles are made up of except the one ingredient, and then everything else I don't understand. And that's already a problem. If you can't understand, you should not ingest. Roasted spice powder, turmeric, curcumin, good to go. Sure. Coriander, yes, that's good. Black pepper, this might be the nutritious part of the name. Fenugreek, ginger, green, cardamom, cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, bay leaf. Everything's good here. Onion powder, garlic powder, red chili powder, red.
So there's a spice box inside. There's a spice.
So the
packet.
spices looks like they check out because it's actual real spices.
Okay.
But the quality of them will have to. That's questionable too as well. We don't know where they come from, but that looks legit.
So when you open this, there is a packet inside
Yes.
which is all dried up spices.
That's the only nutritious part.
So basically, what the noodles are made of, they are not nutritious.
I don't even know what they are. There's a lot of.
But we can use these. Can we use these spices in our daily vegetables and daily cooking materials?
Yes.
That is for that. It is.
Oh yeah, the spices I would use. I'll put this on my food. And again, I would be looking for organic myself, but in this case, whatever, right? But now let's move on. Dehydrated vegetables. We don't know if they're organic or not, so we don't know what quality they could be genetically modified. Corn, I would avoid. Corn oil. Refined wheat flour. So more white flour, which can cause inflammation. Iodized salt, toasted, so low quality salt, worst salt possible, demineralized. You want, if it said Himalayan salt or Celtic sea salt, then it would be good to go. Toasted onion powder.
Yeah, I mean.
So, and then at the end, mineral and wheat gluten contains wheat. So, very inflammatory, causes inflammation, bloating, water retention, wreak havoc on your intestinal tract. Microbiome is not going to understand any of this. And it's going to probably pass through you, absorbed into your body at the end, stored in your body for a long time. And that is your new energy that your body has to thrive on. Horrible for you.
Okay.
Spices are okay for you.
Okay, we just have 2 more left.
Yeah, let's do it. Nutella, I already know it's going to be high sugar. 11 grams for 1 teaspoon. Again, 1 teaspoon, that's not going to hurt you, but let's look at the ingredients. Again, so if I had a sugar kick, I would probably put this on a teaspoon and eat it, but the ingredients, sugar, first ingredient, yes, obviously. Again, somebody that has insulin resistance and has a fatty liver and has a hard time digesting glucose and absorbing sugar into the body as energy, this would be a big no. But for everybody else, modified palm oil can be inflammatory. It has real hazelnuts, skim milk powder, cocoa, sunflower raisin, questionable, not the worst, not the best. It just for mixability purposes. It has vanilla flavor, so not the worst. Modified palm oil can be inflammatory. It is inflammatory, I should say, actually. So is this super sweet and tasty? Now the question is something like this: it tastes so damn good. Are you actually going to only eat 1 tablespoon?
That is the holy problem.
So why something like this can be dangerous? I know myself. I would probably eat 5 tablespoons, 6 tablespoons, and I would be about 60 grams of sugar, and that's already 200% more sugar that you should consume a day. Because every human, I believe, if you can consume 20 to 25 grams of sugar a day, it's very reasonable, and your body can keep up with that. And their sugar consumption, you know what I mean? Again, put things in perspective. An apple, 20, 25 grams of sugar. A banana, 20, 25 grams of sugar. You know what I mean? So it's like, yes, you can
What
enjoy.
about orange?
Orange, very high sugar as well. Again, one orange is not going to hurt you.
But what about like usually?
Good question. I know where this is going.
Yeah. So
Orange is good, that is bad. And the reason I say that is because, to make this bottle, you had to use probably 10 oranges. It says 100% orange juice, some pulp, whatever. 23 grams of sugar for 1 cup, right? So if I ate a whole orange, I would be satisfied. If I drank 2 glasses, I could probably drink this whole bottle at one time, and that would be explosive for my insulin and my blood sugar levels, and it would harm me. Meaning, my body will not get to use all of this energy at one time, and it will store it as fat. And if I have a fatty liver, this will cause more damage to my liver.
But what if they're already marketing it as by saying that there is no sugar added and it is 100% orange juice? So what does that mean?
So let's look at 100% orange juice. So it is real oranges, right? Rich in vitamin C. And it says never from concentrate. So that means they've never used this actual real oranges. The only reason this could be dangerous, again, it's got a lot of sugar. So if you can only consume 1 cup, which is 250 mils, which is not a lot, that would be
250 ml, yeah.
250 mils will look something like that, maybe.
120 calories. It says over here.
Yeah, so you can use that. But what will happen after you ingest that? Blood sugar goes up. All of a sudden, you want more sugar. So now, how will you ingest that to be beneficial for you? The only time I will ingest something like that, let's say I'm going to go play a sport, and I'm going to burn sugar. Yes, I'll take that. Maybe.
So is it something that people would want to have it in their breakfast?
No. Worst thing ever. You're going to be a sugar burner all day long. You just spiked insulin, blood sugar levels. Those blood sugar levels drop. You feel like crap. You feel foggy. You feel tired. You want more sugar.
So do you think there is still hope for us to have good food and good life, good body, good skin, everything with how we are improving, how we are going and progressing with the technology in the society and everything?
100%. Yes, but that is going to be a whole project. I think that's the new wave, and that's what I was kind of getting at that protein company. I'm noticing now in a lot of brands, there's a shift. There's a shift. People are starting to learn about labels.
Yeah.
Talks like this are very important.
It's really important.
Very important. Because then I bet you, whoever this podcast touches, and, there was, again, we off camera, we were talking about, man, like every single thing that we talked about today, it's its own topic.
Oh, yeah.
So like I couldn't even get into it deep, but someone's going to now pick up a protein, and if it just changed a few lives, and they're going to change some people's lives, because most companies now are hearing this.
Yeah.
And they're starting to, for that company to make another protein of that same bucket without the artificial stuff, that means slowly we're the ones that dictate this. Yeah. Meaning, if less people buy that product, they're going to slowly get less sales. They're going to have to change something. The more people keep buying, they're promoting no concentrates, real fruit. That obviously probably started somewhere because people started saying, I don't want to have the stuff that comes in a frozen can that you made synthetically. Yeah. I want to at least have the real orange. Okay, it's a step up, whatever, even though I would still eat the whole orange, but step up. We dictate with our dollars, right? So if how does that transfer to me? Customers come into the store, more and more people are reading labels, they stop buying the product, it goes expired, it gets off my shelf. I stop buying from my distributor. Distributor stops buying from the company. I got you. I know, I'm getting excited. So the company stops buying it the distributor stops buying it from the company, and now the company has to either have 2 options. Either you fold and you don't exist anymore, or you keep lying and try to manipulate people and hopefully you don't win. Or 2, you actually adapt to the new environment and you change the product. Just like back in the day, they wanted to make more money. They took that exact same image, created a low quality product, took out the high expensive ingredients, and made something very inflammatory that tastes even better. Voila. And you now make more money. Incredible, right? So we have to respect humanity more and be very concerned with where we're going if we continue this way. So I'm starting to see a
shift is happening now.
A shift.
People are getting more educated, and especially we've talked about a few of the content creators and people who are talking about the Food Farmer, JC. There are so many others as well who are talking about it. We are now talking about it, and more people to watch it, and more and more people to get educated and educate other people also at the same time. Like, for the whole point of this kind of a conversation is to have more conversations like these.
Yes. So from all of this encompassed, when I ate like this, the ones I kept breaking down, I was 80 pounds overweight. I had acne all over my face. I was inflamed. I had bad sleeps. I had hormone problems. I had a size pants 42. And when I started thinking this way, I lost 80 pounds. And my skin became clear. I started looking younger, right? And that's the difference. So it's up to the person, because
you got to take care of your body yourself. Nobody from outside is going to come and say, hey, knock, knock, you're not looking perfect.
And and what you're doing with this podcast is incredible, because you do touch upon a lot of good products. And I thank God you had me on here for this part of it, because I just get to share my piece of my story, which probably touches a lot of people because they're going through the same thing. Yeah. And if that transfers a little bit to one person to another, that's how it all begins.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And this is how it all starts.
Yeah.
And that transformation I wanted to show you.
Oh, yeah,
He said yes to so I could show the picture.
Yeah.
This is someone that is in our community that comes and shops at a store. You can show the picture. He said yes to it. I'll give you the phone so you can put up. I don't know how you're going to want to do it later.
We'll put a picture.
Okay. But that person right there, this is now he's going to be done in December 15th. He's done incredible. He's lost about 45 inches off his body, and he's lost about 30 pounds, maintained his lean muscle mass, and he's lost a lot of his sick look to him, meaning his organs are now cleaned up. And the first thing I told him, I'm like, this is not going to be about weight loss. This is about becoming healthy, and your weight loss will come.
Yeah.
And now it's funny hearing
I
this.
saw him the other day.
You did.
Man looked.
Yeah, that's why it all lined up perfectly.
transformation.
Yeah, it lined up perfectly. You were in the store when he came in. It was a real time, and you got to see. And I'm not someone online that's got millions of views and whatever. I'm a community man. I work in my community. I've been around now for 20 years, sharing my thoughts and helping people. I coach people.
And this is what I really love about you, that you don't take when you are speaking to somebody, when you're giving your advice, you don't care about the time. You don't care about that, how long it's going to take for that person to, give that kind of knowledge. You just share it completely, unconditional.
Yeah, thank you.
And I think very few people have that kind of, value to give.
That's how we started.
That's how we all started.
Remember, it was like an hour and a half conversation.
Hour and a half conversation, and that's why. And now we are sitting.
Your wife called, like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, I'm talking to her.
I remember 5 years ago when we first met.
You're like, no, I'm okay. I'm just at the supplement shop talking. And then it's and that's the running joke with everybody. It's like they go, if you go see Artie, you better make sure you have an hour. And I always tell everybody, you can cut me off at any time. But I just want to share what I've learned. I went from a whole different perspective of trying to be a computer engineer and a police officer to losing 80 pounds, and my goal in life was never to become that sick person ever again. It's not a fun feeling. You know what I mean? And if people don't correct that, unfortunately there's a lot of things that will happen with their bodies that you do not want to go through, right? And it's that famous saying, I think the philosopher said, it's a shame that was Socrates, I think, or someone, one of the philosophers, actually it wasn't Socrates, someone else. They said, it's a shame that he said man, but it's man and a woman doesn't get the opportunity to see their full potential. You know what I mean? Because you will one day be 50, one day you'll be 60, one day you'll be 70, and you're gonna look back and be like, wow, I never even felt like, is this what life was, right? Was I able to live my life to the fullest, meaning not financially, not who I became in life, but quality of life. You know what I mean? Is this the best that I could have done? And what does that mean? Did I get to wake up every day and feel good? Was my mind sound? Did I make the right decisions? Was I acting nice to my wife or my sister or my brother or my friend or in a community?
All right, brother, we're pretty much towards the end. I have two things to add up over here.
Yes.
One thing is that we did not touch, because this was a very important conversation. We wanted to talk about labels and everything. I also wanted to touch on diet, intermittent fasting, keto, everything. These are the things that I think can help you have a stronger lifestyle, better lifestyle, which we cannot touch unfortunately right now. But let me know in the comments, guys, if you want Artie to come back and we talk a little more about diet, what kind of a diet that a person needs to have. Really excited about that conversation also, since I don't want this conversation to go too long. I want people to have a digestible, pun intended.
No,
digestible.
I like that. Are you able to digest the conversation?
Yeah.
Because I would love to even come on one day and just talk about digestion. Yeah. Right?
So we are going to have that conversation. Before we end, I have a rapid fire round.
Okay, let's do it.
And all you just got to say is it a myth or it's a truth?
Okay. To my best ability, because some people might have different answers. So let's see.
Okay, the first one is honey better than white sugar?
Yes.
Okay.
1000%.
Okay. Do detox diet really clean toxins out of your body?
Detox diets?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the truth?
Yes, it's the truth. You can remove toxic waste from your body with depending on what kind of detox diet you do, right? But you can remove toxins out of your body. But supplementation might have to be involved. Removing heavy metals from your body, yes.
Okay.
And you can eat certain foods that will kill parasites. So you can definitely detox your body.
Okay. Brown bread is better than white bread? Or is it just colored brown?
It's yes, but they're both bad.
Okay.
Yes. I would go sourdough bread or Ezekiel bread, something that if it has to be a whole food, and if it's sourdough, it's been fermented, it's amazing for you. So I would not ingest brown bread or white bread. It doesn't matter to me. And then also what's on the packaging, is it enriched? So basically, is it the original whole grains or is it synthetically made? So that would be the answer to that.
Okay. So it's neither a myth, not a truth.
It could slightly be better than white bread, depending on what they used.
Okay. Breakfast is the most important part of the day.
Yes, it's the truth. But breakfast can be at any point of the time. It's just breaking your fast. And the reason to that answer is because your stomach acid is the strongest on your first meal of the day. So you can digest your food the best. So it is the most important.
So the dark chocolate is better than regular chocolate?
Yes. More magnesium, less processing, less sugar, and it has more antioxidant properties.
And dark chocolate, you mean like what percentage of dark chocolate?
Probably like a 70-80 versus like a 60, like, something that's very milky.
Okay.
And just depending on the source where it came from. But yes, for blood sugar levels.
Okay. Skipping a meal helps you reduce weight?
Skipping a meal meaning in a day or like?
In a day.
It can make you lose weight if you're in a calorie deficit. So if you're trying to lose weight, you cannot eat all day long. So that would be the truth because you can. But again, that's a whole other conversation. You know what I mean? Skipping a meal might not be the best idea either.
Yeah.
But, the real question would be eating closely together, one after another, by that meaning snacking throughout the day versus eating further apart.
Okay.
So in this case, skipping a meal may make you lose weight because you're going to be in a calorie deficit, but the quality of food is, you can eat crappy food and that might make you inflamed and water retained.
Okay.
So the weight scale might not move. So good question, but there's a different way of answering it. Yeah.
Okay. So you have to eat red meat if you want to gain muscle?
False.
It's a myth?
Yes, it's a myth. You can eat as long as you have amino acids. Protein synthesis can occur. You have to spike mTOR pathways. You're telling your body to grow. So as long as you get a full, complete amino acid stack, so that if you eat vegan, you just better make sure it came from like 5 plant-based sources all at one time, so you can mimic the amino acid profile what you would get in red meat or a whey protein. So that would be a myth.
So it is possible to gain muscle
1,000%.
even if you're a vegan
1,000%.
or a vegetarian?
Yes.
Okay. Dairy products do more harm than good?
Depending on the quality of dairy is the true statement. So remember, you have to. So if the dairy came from an animal that was fully grass fed and it's an aged cheese, it can work well. Now, should it be consumed by every person? That's questionable. A lot of doctors say that, and scientists say that dairy shouldn't be consumed after birth, unless you're milking just to make you grow. But at the same time, it's like you can enjoy a little bit. So is it?
But a lot of people are also against dairy products, no? That is also one of the thing.
Because most people eat mainstream dairy. I'm not for dairy. I eat no dairy. But don't blame the dairy because where it came, it's just, where did it come from? You know what I mean? The dairy could not be harmful for a lot of people. It could work in their benefit.
Yeah.
It's just the quality will matter.
It's just that we have been also brought up drinking milk in the morning as a staple.
Yes.
Also. But nowadays, I think it is more like it wasn't even required, they say.
Yeah, that was a marketing push too as well. It's actually one of my books that I read by Dr. Michael Colgan. It happened in the 70s, I believe, that they made milk an actual industry. Okay. Because back in the day, you would get milk, came right from the cow, it was fresh. That was good. It came with minerals. That might not be so bad, right? But then again, you got to remember, they create industries around these things. So industries are created, then you got to upkeep them, and then you get money. But why would I drink milk? Not for the calcium. That calcium will probably draw calcium from your body, and that's a whole other topic. One day we can talk about decalcification. So I'd rather not consume the milk personally myself there is no real benefit. I'd rather eat whole foods. And if I was going to consume dairy, I'll consume maybe some healthy aged cheese. But again, that might cause havoc as well, depending on where it comes from.
Yeah.
There's
All right.
different ways of looking at it.
Perfect, man. All right, brother.
Appreciate you.
Thank you for this wonderful conversation.
It was awesome. Thank you for having me. It was good, and I'm glad we can have this and talk about it.
And I'll just say that, if you want to live longer, everybody must watch this episode.
I believe so too. It's a great start.
Yeah.
This is the perfect start.
Yeah, this is perfect.
And then we'll get further into it. Appreciate you.
All right, brother.
All right. God bless.
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. And if you're not subscribed yet, then click right now and subscribe, because every week I'm going to post a video or a podcast, and it is going to be about marketing, content creation, and business. And if you want to check out some other videos and interviews, then here are some of my recommendations for you.